Check, 1, 2, check. No.
Seeing it. Release new levels.
Check, 1, 2, check.
Release new levels. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have the technology issue sorted out? I'm too tall. All right, that's fine. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Mitch Mender, and I'm the commissioner who represents the 9th and 10th judicial districts on the Board of Bar Commissioners and the chair of the Annual Awards Committee this year. Each year, the State Bar receives numerous nominations for its prestigious annual awards, and it's a difficult task to choose between all of the qualified and extraordinary nominees. We sincerely thank everyone for their time in submitting the nominations, for these individuals and organizations who made significant contributions to the legal profession. This is, without a doubt, my favorite part of being on the Board of Bar Commissioners, being on this committee and seeing all the incredible service and acts and kindness that individuals and organizations do for our legal community and the state of New Mexico. It really is inspiring. When we talk about the theme of being inspired, this to me is one of my favorite parts because it does inspire me, and I hope you all will be inspired as well. It is now my distinct pleasure to present the 2024 Annual Awards. You can read more about the recipients in the annual meeting program. First, the Distinguished Bar Service Award for a non-lawyer. The Distinguished Bar Service Award recognizes non-lawyers who provided valuable service and contributions to the legal profession over a significant period. We are pleased to present this award to Katina Watson for her commitment, contributions, leadership, and dedication as the court's executive officer of the 2nd Judicial District Court, and previously as the CEO of the 12th Judicial District Court, as well as for her service on various court committees and programs throughout her impressive career. We'll now watch a quick video put together by the State Bar staff about this nomination.
Congratulations, Katina, for being named as the 2024 Distinguished Bar Service Award non-lawyer. Katina has demonstrated extraordinary leadership in improving the lives of New Mexicans and overall court operations in our justice system. I have known Katina as a colleague of the New Mexico's Court Executive Officer Council. Katina has served New Mexico with great distinction for many years. As a model public servant, she has greatly enhanced the legal institutions of New Mexico and has made significant contributions to our local communities. Katina has served as a court executive officer for nearly 12 years in both rural districts and large districts. Largely through Katina's efforts, the New Mexico judiciary has become a leader in sound administration, self-help divisions, treatment courts, case flow, and records management. She has enhanced the legal profession by serving on numerous Supreme Court committees, including the New Mexico Judicial Branch Personnel Rules Committee, the Judiciary's Budget Committee, serving as the chair of New Mexico Judicial Branch's Classification Committee, the Workforce Investment Plan Work Group, and the Judicial Branch's Work Study Self Group, making a difference for New Mexico Judicial Branch employees. Katina is committed to high ideals, exemplary character, leadership, and public service. She has been committed to preserving fair and impartial courts, improving public trust and confidence in New Mexico state courts, and improving overall access to justice. She has consistently displayed vision and leadership, serving as a mentor and inspiration to her fellow colleagues. Throughout her career, Katina has devoted herself to serving New Mexico citizens, oftentimes with little fanfare, drawing little attention to herself. She has made a significant difference to our citizens and the entire legal community. Thank you, Katina, for your long, distinguished career to the state, and you're truly deserving. Congratulations.
Thank you, and congratulations to Katina Watson. And I want to invite you up here to accept your award and say a few words if you would like.
Well, good evening, and it's an honor to be here this evening. I'm speechless. I can't say how grateful I am for the work I do. I think I have the best job that anybody could possibly have, and I'm fortunate enough to have to be able to have done this in 2 different districts, first in the 12th and now in the 2nd here in Albuquerque. I work with amazing people, staff, brilliant judges who are dedicated and committed to everything they do. And the work that we do just inspires me every day to continue to persevere and work through everything that we do together. And I am truly grateful and blessed for everybody that I get to work with. Thank you.
All right, our next award is the Excellence in Well-Being. This award was created to recognize an individual or organization that has made an outstanding positive contribution towards change in the New Mexico legal profession's well-being, including destigmatizing mental health, strengthening resiliency, and creating a synergistic approach to work and life. We are pleased to present this award to Briggs F. Cheney for his commitment and dedication to improving the well-being of attorneys in New Mexico through the Lawyers Assistance Program for over 5 decades, and for his service and assistance to the Well-Being Committee. Do we have another video?
So I'm happy to have this opportunity to say a few words about why Briggs Cheney inspired me to nominate him for the Excellence in Lawyer Well-Being Award. Briggs is just inspiring. He was one of the early founders of the Lawyers Assistance Program, and together with Bill Stratford and Tom Tabbitt, they did everything at the time. They organized meetings for people seeking recovery. They organized interventions. They took phone calls. And 30 years later, Briggs is still going strong. There isn't a lawyer in recovery in New Mexico who hasn't been touched in some way or another by Briggs Cheney. It's just what he has done is absolutely remarkable. And this really is personal to me because I'm one of the people that owes my recovery and really my life to Briggs Cheney and the organization that he helped to found so many years ago. In addition, Briggs, there's probably a few people here in the audience that have not heard Briggs' story. Briggs' story is he has told countless times. He's told it in front of new admittees to the bar. He's told it to law students, and there are a few people who have not heard that story. And it takes a particular type of humility for someone to stand up and to basically acknowledge that they're an alcoholic and that they are in recovery and are available to help people. And Briggs did that because he wanted people to know that they could contact him safely to engage in these types of recovery. And so it's all of that to me is, boils down to one thing. I think Briggs Cheney has helped more lawyers in the state, not just in recovery, but in his professional work, representing lawyers who have been sued for malpractice and representing lawyers before the disciplinary board. Briggs is the incarnation of a helping hand, and it's my pleasure to have had this opportunity to say a few words about him.
Thank you. I want to congratulate Briggs F. Cheney and invite him to the stage. First, we have to take a picture.
I'm not sure how well I'm going to do at this. First, I want to tell the other recipients this evening how honored I am to be counted among them. I don't know Katina. Mitch Moss, I've gotten to meet him in the last year and a half. He helped me. He was a witness in a case, and I've heard so much about him, and I feel like I know him, and others have said so much about him. The other recipients are old friends, which is special to me. Dave Giddens, I've known forever. I remember us being in New York in a case, and we were accused of being the Desert Foxes. Ron Taylor was a lawyer when I started, and for over 50 years, Ron has done nothing but help people. I was thinking last night that if Paul Phillips were here, he'd be smiling. Bob Scott. Bob and I were in college together in competing fraternities, if you will. Bob had a yellow Corvette, and there was no stealing a date from Bob. And we then went on and were in the same law school class. I hope I don't irritate Your Honor. Neither one of us were Order of the Coif. But Bob went on to distinguish himself in the judiciary, both state and federal. And I'm proud, and the class of 72 is proud. And who am I missing here? Somebody probably. I can't really call him an old friend. He's kind of a new friend, and that's just because he's a young lawyer. Cameron Bush is someone I've gotten to know the last 4 years, and I'm so proud of him, and I see a bright future for this bar and people like him. So I am flattered to be counted among those folks this evening. I didn't know until a few minutes ago who had suggested me. And all I can say is that you have touched my heart. As was talked about, and maybe because this is a state bar meeting, the annual meeting, it's important to know how important the state bar is. It was 1986 when the Board of Bar Commissioners and the state bar established what we called back then the New Mexico Lawyers Concern for Lawyers. It was kind of a ragtag group. Bill Stratford and Tom Tabbitt, and there was a couple others that were involved in it. And it was 28 years ago, next month, that group saved my life. My legal assistant, who was with me for 35 years until she retired, Donna Doris, blew the whistle on me. She had the courage to call Jill Yeagley, who was the Pam Moore. Pam succeeded Jill, and my wife Susie and my kids Zach and Molly and Clayton and Bill Stratford, and a judge I had met and become very close to from Maryland, flew all the way out to Albuquerque to have what I sometimes kiddingly or affectionately call the surprise birthday party no one wants to have. You might call it an intervention. I'm not being dramatic. I wouldn't be here today. I'd be dead, and it's true. So what they do here is so important. And it does save lives, and it does so much more. So whenever you're having kind of a negative thought about the state bar, please think about how much it does. Now, since 1986 to today, what was New Mexico Lawyers Concern for Lawyers is so much more now. And 7, 8 years ago, I've kind of lost track of time now, Pam Moore joined us, and we help so many. Not just those who struggle with addiction, but those who struggle with a whole host of problems. And we have all kinds of names for it. I guess well-being is kind of what we call it. And Pam and Bill and Tanessa do so much to promote well-being and the well-being of lawyers in this state. And those three have become very close friends of mine, and they've helped me so much in the last number of years. But I want to leave you with, since this is a well-being award, let me leave you with my little personal well-being wisdom, if you will. 2 things, basically. One is, don't go through life. Don't go through the practice of law alone. Find us something else. Those are 2 words I use for me. I can't tell you what that something else is. I just stop right there. For others, others of faith, maybe it's a God. For others, maybe it's a higher power. Whatever it is, and if it's not something spiritual or something you can't define, for gosh sakes, find someone that you can talk to, someone that you can go and close the door and say, I'm scared. Yep. And it's just so important. The second thing doesn't work very well unless you got the first thing, but, and this one, it's the following. Learn to embrace ambiguity and the joy of just not knowing. Now, I have practiced law for a long time. I've had the honor of representing lawyers. We all feel like we're supposed to know the answer. We all feel we're supposed to know what's going to happen. We all feel like we're responsible for what's going to happen. You all know we don't. And you just have to learn to see the joy in that. And that's when you have your something else, or your higher power, or your God, or your darn good friend, where you can say, I'm scared. So thank you. You've touched my heart.
Well, I'm going to try and not get emotional. Our next award is the Judge Sarah M. Singleton Distinguished Service Award. This award recognizes attorneys who have provided valuable service and contributions to the legal profession, the State Bar of New Mexico, and the public over a significant period. We are pleased to present this award to, is that the right award? Yes. George David Dave Giddens Jr. for his dedication, commitment, and contributions to the legal community over 4 decades, representing clients in bankruptcy cases, highlighted by his numerous awards and recognition.
George Dave Giddens has recently retired, and his contributions to the New Mexico legal profession and state bar, along with his outstanding legal career for over 40 years, should and has been recognized through this amazing award. A graduate of University of Kansas, Dave holds a Bachelor's of General Studies, where he majored in personnel administration. He earned his Juris Doctorate from the University of Kansas School of Law, where he is a member of the Order of the Coif. A New Mexico attorney since 1983, Dave has treated his clients with concern, compassion, and exceptional legal abilities. During his 40-year career, he has represented secured and unsecured creditors, secured and unsecured lenders, debtors, trustees, creditors committees, and receivers in farm and non-farm bankruptcy cases in not only New Mexico, but Arizona, California, Colorado, Missouri, Illinois, and Delaware. He has case history that has assisted in shaping the case law of New Mexico through his 40 years of being an attorney in New Mexico. He has also handled real estate and personal property foreclosure matters. Dave is a firm believer in the idea that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so he has encouraged all of his lender clients to have him involved before loans are made to make sure the documentation is correct and collateral perfection is achieved. Dave's achievements have been recognized throughout the legal community. Most recently, he was selected by his peers for inclusion in the 28th edition of the Best Lawyers in America for his work in 4 practice areas: bankruptcy, creditor and debtor rights, insolvency and reorganization law, commercial litigation, bankruptcy, and real estate law. He was recognized by his peers in both 2018 and 2021 as the Albuquerque Bankruptcy and Creditor Debtor Rights, Insolvency, and Reorganization Law Lawyer of the Year. This was his 9th year of recognition by the organization. Dave was also named a top-rated lawyer for corporate restructuring and bankruptcy in 2013, a Southwest super lawyer in 2009 and 2012, and all the way through 2023. In 2011, he was named Best of the Bar Bankruptcy by New Mexico Business Weekly. He has consistently received the highest rating for professional abilities and ethics and receives an AV from Martindale Hubbell, a legal rating service, for more than 15 years. In addition to his recognitions, his service to the New Mexico legal community and bar include participating as an expert witness for disciplinary counsel on bankruptcy matters, teaching numerous CLE courses through NBI and the bankruptcy law section, participating as a hearing committee member of the disciplinary board of the Supreme Court of New Mexico, participating as a member of the American Bankruptcy Institute, Albuquerque Bar Association, Home Builders Association of Central New Mexico, and NAIOP. Dave prides himself in maintaining an excellent reputation among his peers and with his clients. His goal has been to exceed his clients' expectations by providing superior legal services with the highest ethical standards. His motto has always been expertise with compassion. As I have worked beside Dave for the last 2 years, I have taken notice of these to be absolutely true and highly have encouraged his recognition at this year's annual meeting. It is my pleasure and honor to have him be recognized for this award. Congratulations, Dave.
Unfortunately, we found out yesterday that George David Giddens Jr. is unable to accept the award during our ceremony today. So Elizabeth Friedenstein will be accepting the award on his behalf. Welcome. Congratulations.
You already heard enough of me, but this is from Dave, who is watching us today. Unfortunately, he did come down with COVID, and it was very, very sad not to be here today, be with you all, and to accept this award. So he did send me with some remarks to share. Again, me on my phone. I had a blessed career from the day I arrived in New Mexico at the end of 1982. My mentors at the Atwood Malone firm in Roswell instilled in me the desire to treat every client as important and to treat all lawyers and judges with respect. I dedicated my 41 years of practice to serving my clients with expertise and compassion, and to trying to teach all the lawyers and support staff who worked with me to share those values. I am honored and humbled that the State Bar selected me for this amazing award. He asked myself and our staff, one of his staff members here, to accept this award on his behalf today, and we thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations again. Is Mitchell Moss here tonight? I'm Mitchell Moss. Present. Perfect. All right. Our next award is the Justice Pamela Beedminster Professionalism Award. This award recognizes attorneys and/or judges who, over a long, distinguished legal career, have by their ethical and personal conduct exemplified for their fellow attorneys the epitome of professionalism. We are pleased to present this award to M. Mitchell Moss for his dedication, commitment, and contributions to the legal community for 3 decades, as well as through his ethical and personal conduct as a mentor and a leader to his peers.
I nominated Mr. Moss for this award because he has proven to be a true mentor in the legal profession. By way of his ethics and how he interacts with clients, opposing counsel, and judges in every day, we could all learn something from him. I've had the great opportunity of working with Mr. Moss for 5 years. I've known him for about 7 years, and he has guided my entire legal career from being a paralegal through law student into a first-year attorney. Not many attorneys are like Mr. Moss, where he would take the chance at guiding such a young attorney. Even as a law student, he was routinely having me appear in court by motion in New Mexico and got me a student license in El Paso to attend court hearings and argue complex motions against very contested opposing counsels. And he had faith in me, sat by my side, and was showing me basically how a lawyer is and what to do and how to treat clients. And I've felt that he truly deserves this award because of his longstanding history in New Mexico and the Southwest entirely.
Congratulations to M. Mitchell Moss.
I recall a few weeks, maybe a month ago, when I got the email that I'd won this award, and I looked at it and thought, maybe this was for somebody else. Is this for me? Because I'm not doing anything different. I just practice law and try to do the right thing each day. And so I was extremely humbled and honored that I would have been nominated by Mr. Armijo, my associate. I want to thank my wife, Diana. I want to thank, obviously, Andrew and his wife, Nancy, but I've got my daughter, Madison, and Mia here with me tonight. With them and with God in our lives, we've made it this far as lawyers. I've been doing this 32 years. As I looked at the award and started learning more about it, I had to look at Justice Menzner, who the award was named after, and what a trailblazer she was, from the Court of Appeals to the first justice on the female Chief Justice. Just an incredible honor to have my name associated with such an award. And so I started thinking, goodness, how did I get here to this point? How did I become a mentor to other people? And I have to credit a lot of that to my father. My dad practiced for 50 years in Lubbock, and so I kind of grew up in the law firm and got to see how he interacted. And what I learned is that we're not just lawyers when we're with clients or in court. We're always lawyers. People always look at us to determine how they're going to view lawyers in general. There's enough jokes out there that we're working against the curve. And so I saw my dad and everything he did, and the commitment to give back to the community and nonprofits and pro bono work. And then I saw him with young lawyers in his firm, and the time and effort he took to help mentor, not only as lawyers, but as people. He would help them in their personal lives, do whatever he could to make sure that they were well-rounded and had all the tools they needed to succeed as a lawyer. And so for me, it was second nature. And I again, when I got the notification of the wonderful award, I just thought, I really haven't done anything special, but maybe this is the attitude we need. We need to be able to pass on to the next generation of lawyers the ethics and the professionalism and how we deal with people, how we deal with judges, courts, staff. It's how we present ourselves. And so, I want to thank all the other nominees today. Mr. Cheney, wonderful. You should be getting this award as well. I'm honored to be on a slate with so many fine lawyers and individuals. I had good mentors when I first started practicing law in El Paso and in southern New Mexico. One of the firms I was at broke off from a big firm, and my mentor there was a guy named Ruben Robles, and he was great. I'll tell a story and get out of here because I know you guys want to get and have the refreshments and so forth. But I'll never forget, I was a second-year lawyer. It was probably the second trial I was in, and Mr. Robles and I were trying that, and we were defending a automobile accident, and the plaintiff was on a motorcycle. and the plaintiff had a blood alcohol content while riding the motorcycle and was speeding, but still sued our client for the injuries. And I'll never forget an early lesson. We'd gone through the first day of trial and it was over. You could tell the jury when they heard about the alcohol and the speeding and all that, the case was over. And I'll never forget, day one, we were back at the office getting ready, and everybody remembers the facsimile. We got a fax in from plaintiff's counsel redemanding policy limits. And I'll never forget, Mr. Robles went over to the copy machine and placed his hand on there and did a gesture that's probably not the nicest thing you should do. And so I didn't know that. So the next day we show up to court, and the attorney comes up and goes, Mr. Robles, did you get my demand letter? And he said, yeah, I got your demand letter, and here's your response. And he pulled it out and showed it to him, and he looked at me and said, Moss, never do that. So as a mentor, I learned you got to sometimes tell people when they shouldn't do things. And earlier this week, we had a contentious issue with a big city lawyer in Texas, and I had to explain to him that's not how we do things in the Southwest or in El Paso. We don't play that way. And I was probably a little bit more forthright in some of my emails than I should have been, and I had to tell Mr. Armijo, don't do that. I think I went too far. And so I think part of being professional and being a good mentor is being able to recognize when you yourself fall short, because we're all going to fall short. We know that. And being able to recognize that, I think, is one of the most important things, but being able to teach others and try to guide them in the right way, I think, speaks volumes, the way we carry ourselves. I'll leave you with this final thought. My three rules kind of for being or for making it this far, and I think having the respect that I've hopefully earned. Your word is your bond. It's your honor. Once somebody doesn't trust you or doesn't think you tell the truth, it's hard to earn that back if you ever can. And so your word is your bond. Number two, accept responsibility when you fall short, because we're all going to do it, whether it's in court, whether it's with our family, friends, clients, we're all going to mess up. And when you go to them and you tell them, I fell short, that speaks volumes to the person. We teach that to our kids, and it's hard to do as a professional, but that is one of the most important things I've learned in 32 years. And then finally, pay it forward. You got to teach these new lawyers coming up behind you. You've got to carry yourself and take the effort to sit down and give them the guidance they need, because we need this to continue. It's a different world out there, a different generation of lawyers. We all see the younger lawyers aren't the same as when we came up as older guys. And so I think it's even more important that we pay it forward and do everything we can to maintain the beauty of this profession and not let anything tarnish it. I really thank you. I thank Andrew for the nomination. I thank my family. I thank all the folks here for this honor.
All right. Next is the Outstanding Legal Organization or Program Award. This award recognizes outstanding or extraordinary law-related organizations or programs that serve the legal profession and the public. We are pleased to present this award to the American Indian Law Center, PLSI, Judicial Clerkship Committee for their tireless efforts and extensive and important work for over 5 decades to ensure that American Indians and Alaska Native students have the opportunity for and benefit of judicial clerkships, which have included the U.S. Court of Appeals, federal district courts, and the state Supreme Courts. Congratulations to the American Indian Law Center, PLSI Judicial Clerkship Committee.
I nominated the Judicial Clerkship Committee because it was an opportunity to highlight the work of this small group of individuals who are bringing awareness and educating law students, Native American law students, and new attorneys about judicial law clerkships in state and federal courts. The numbers have been reflective of our commitment. Over the past few years, we've seen a great increase in the number of Native American attorneys who serve as judicial law clerks all over the country in state and federal courts. It is our mission and our hope that one day some of these Native American attorneys will go on to serve as judges in these courts, and that our judiciary will reflect who we are as an American people. Thank you to Rodina Cave Parno, who has been instrumental in completing this work, and thank you to the many judges who have mentored and partnered with us over the years and have believed in our mission.
The AILC Judicial Clerkship Committee will inspire others primarily indirectly through the many and diverse contributions of those Native law students who discover that they too can be a clerk, that they too can become a judge. It's their contributions, their points of view, and their brilliances that ultimately will inspire the law and the legal profession.
Hello, my name is Kateri Eisenberg. I'm from Taos Pueblo. The reason why I think the Judicial Clerkship Committee is inspiring is because we have all been law students who were hoping to clerk, who were raised up by our fellow Native American judicial clerks to achieve our goals. I hope the Judicial Clerkship Committee can keep inspiring people to raise one another up.
This award will be accepted by Rodina Cave Parnal and Alma Buena on behalf of the committee.
Put that there so we can all see it. It's really pretty, I think. Well, good evening. Good evening to each and every one of you. State Bar of New Mexico members, it's an honor to be here. My name is Alma Buena. I am Otomi from Ixmiquilpan, Hidalgo, Mexico. I am a first-generation law student and also a member of the Judicial Clerkship Committee. I am here joined, and it is my honor to be joined by her, the Executive Director of the American Indian Law Center, and also one of the founders of the Judicial Clerkship Committee. I want to share a little bit about this committee. Thank you. The committee is an extension of the work carried out by the American Indian Law Center. The American Indian Law Center was formed in 1967 and is located here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It has consistently stood as a pillar of support and empowerment for Native American communities. And among its mission is to strengthen, advance, and honor sustaining Native American communities through education, training, and leadership development. One of the ways in which the American Indian Law Center does this is through a program called PLSI, or the Pre-Law Summer Institute. PLSI is a summer program that is very intensive. I think students that go through the program consider it a law school boot camp. So it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of dedication and it takes a lot of sacrifice for students to step into the program and become prepared for law school. And so through PLSI, many classes have gone through law school, and one of those was Rodina Cave Parnal, along with 2 other students. In 2013, these 3 students came together, they're alumni at the time, and they looked around and they said, how many judicial clerks have we had through this program, PLSI? And they could only count 6. The program had existed for, I believe, 45 years, and they could only count 6 students who had become judicial clerks in state, federal, tribal. And so they said, what can we do? How do we make sure that our students who are from these Native communities, have access and knowledge about these opportunities? And so these 3 students, these 3 alumni students said, we're going to create a handbook. They said, we're going to create workshops. We're going to have panels. We're going to have one-on-one discussions with Native students and let them know that there is a such thing as judicial clerkships. Let's tell them what judicial clerkships are. Let's tell them the value of being in those positions. Let's tell them so that they can imagine themselves in these positions and maybe one day sit in the judiciary and become judges themselves and represent those communities. And so I take a moment because it's something that's very emotional, and I think it's very powerful, it's very impactful. And I also feel very honored that the State Bar of New Mexico is acknowledging the work that has been happening in the backyard for so long. And along with that, I wanted to share a little bit more about my personal story. And at that same time, thank the Judicial Clerkship Committee for selecting me as the person to receive and accept the award and share these words on their behalf. As I mentioned, I am a first-generation law student. My parents were Bracero workers. My parents left their community when they were just children and found a job and worked the agricultural fields and didn't really know how to navigate these lands. But some way or another, they said, we want to make this home. And they worked their way and established their life here. And one day they had a little baby girl, and this is their baby girl right now. And I know through PLSI, there are other little baby boys and baby girls who are now attorneys and who are in these judicial clerkship positions. So when it comes to being a first-generation law student, a lot of things are first. We don't know who to turn to. We don't know who to ask these questions. What is college? What is law school? What is a bar exam? What is a judicial clerkship? And so what the work of the Judicial Clerkship Committee does is it informs students and it encourages us and it inspires us to not give up. There's this one thing called a judicial clerkship. I know you're worried about passing your 1L exams. I know you're really scared of property. I know you really don't know if your writing skills are doing well. I know there's all these fears, but remember, there's this thing called a judicial clerkship. And so as I was navigating my way into law school right after PLSI, I was very much overwhelmed. I was very much scared of my property professor, Professor Schremer, and many other professors, Professor Suzuki, and I was just worried about passing my classes. And the Judicial Clerkship Committee said, Alma, there's something called a clerkship. And I said, I can't worry about that right now. I have property, I have torts, I have all these classes to worry about. And they said, well, just remember, there's something called a clerkship. And they drilled it, and they drilled it, and they drilled it through panels, through presentations, through one-on-one conversations in the hallway. And I could see my peers who had gone through PLSI before obtain these judicial clerkships. And so when I became a 2L, and I was hearing my classmates talk about judicial clerkships and become really excited, I had an idea of what a judicial clerkship was, and I could feel the excitement. And I went to the committee and I said, okay, I'm ready. Tell me about these clerkships. Tell me about what that is. What do I need to do? And they've been a resource and they've been an inspiration to me. And it reminds me about a story that I shared with my judge now. I work for the Honorable Judge Urias at the Federal District Court. He asked me and he said, we were working our way down to a suppression hearing. And he said, look at you taking notes for a federal court. And I really laughed and I said, you're right. My parents were braceros. I'm their baby girl who, they had no idea that their daughter would be working in this federal court right now. And it was really a moment that was really inspiring for me. And I know in that same way, it's inspiring for many of the students who get the support from the Judicial Clerkship Committee. I'll share one more story really quick because it really touches me and I think it's really inspiring. And it's the story of my good friend, Kateri Eisenberg. And she gave me permission to share this story and I see her dad here. And so just fair warning, it's coming. He's there in the audience. And so And so Kateri also went through the program. You saw her in the video. She clerked for the Honorable Justice Thompson. And the way she tells the story, she says she got the call, she got really excited, she called her dad, said, Dad, you won't believe it, I just got offered this clerkship at the New Mexico Supreme Court with Justice Thompson. Her dad was really excited, got teary-eyed, former tribal judge, public defender. He said, wow, Kateri, I am so proud of you. I remember when we were there, when I was in that generation, I was just happy to be in the room. And I think thanks to the work of the Judicial Clerkship Committee, it's going to take a lot more to make us happy now because we're very much aware of what all is out there. And so those are just some stories I wanted to share. I'll give you a few numbers about the work of the impact of the committee. Since the committee was formed, we started off with 6 judicial clerks, but since then that number has grown to 32 judicial clerks. Some of those clerks have gone on to also clerk at other state and federal clerkships. And so in total, there's been 39 clerkships within those 32 students. Currently, for the 2024 to 2025 cycle, what we know, we have 3 PLSI students in the 9th Circuit, 2 in the Federal District Court, 2 in the State Supreme Court, and 1 in the State Court of Appeals. So we share these numbers as inspiration to you all, because although, yes, these workshops, they're supported through PLSI, as you know, there's a power of friendship. And when I become aware of something, I tell my friends, and I know that's the same thing for PLSI students and how we inspire each other to search and look for these clerkships. And with that, I want to take a moment to ask the members of the Judicial Clerkship Committee, I know some of them are here, to please stand. I see some PLSI students as well. So if you could please stand and be recognized. Kateri, I see Micah, I see Judge Bird. I'm also going to ask our justices and our judges. I see a few justices who have helped us through the program. So if you could please stand up. Judge Bill, I see Judge Henderson, Justice Zamora, please stand. And if I missed anyone, please excuse me. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. And we just have Judge Bird and Judge Eisenberg as well stand, but I just wanted to take that moment to acknowledge them because this work is not, thank you, Judge. Yeah, thank you. I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge them because this work is not possible through just one person. We create networks. And so thank you very much for supporting us, and thank you to the New Mexico State Bar for this award. Thank you all.
All right. Is Cameron Bush here? Perfect. Next is the Outstanding Young Lawyer of the Year Award. This award is awarded to attorneys who have, during the formative stages of their legal careers, by their ethical and personal conduct, exemplified for their fellow attorneys the epitome of professionalism. The nominee has demonstrated commitment to his client's causes and to public service, enhancing the image of the legal profession in the eyes of the public. We are pleased to present this award to Cameron S. Bush for his dedication, contributions, and commitment to the well-being of the legal profession and community through his volunteer work and the Lawyer's Assistant Program.
And Cameron and I met in law school, and ever since I've known him, I understand the passion that he has for the legal profession. He's always exemplified that in everything he does. And so seeing him and how he's developed in this career, he started as a defense attorney and just pouring his heart into his career. But now he's the owner of Bush Injury Law and handles the plaintiff side of personal injury cases, and just seeing how he pours his heart into what he does, into his practice and his clients, most importantly, and making sure that he's always putting his clients first and doing everything he needs to do what's best for the clients. That's wonderful to see. He's also grown a lot in his involvement with the New Mexico Lawyers Assistance Program, which I think is wonderful. There's a lot of contributions that he's made to it, and he certainly understands the importance of that program and the importance that it plays in his personal life, but also his colleagues. So he's always willing to lend a hand to anybody in the program or in the legal community. So I'm super thankful to nominate Cameron for the Outstanding Young Lawyer of the Year award. I know that he inspires me to be the best lawyer I can be and to be the best lawyer I can be for my clients in the New Mexico community.
Congratulations to Cameron S. Bush.
Wow, nobody told me how heavy this thing was. That's solid. For those of you wondering, that beautiful woman in that video is my loving wife, Carla. So she's kind of biased when she says all those very nice things about me. I'm a very, very lucky man. Thank you to the New Mexico State Bar for this incredible award. Some other nominees have said it, but I truly feel like I'm the one who's deeply honored. I feel a little bit out of place. There's some incredible legal professionals. I really enjoyed your talk, Mr. Moss. My dear friend, Mr. Briggs Cheney, God, you're such a special guy. I'd like to point out everybody else came up here in their best suit, right? And he wore an apron. And it's because he has a servant's heart. Like Briggs has mentioned, I've known him for about 4 years now through our work together at the Lawyers Assistance Program. For every lawyer who's in recovery in New Mexico, you are our North Star. And if we're talking about what inspires people, you inspire me, Briggs. I love you, buddy. The reason I'm here is because of my experience with the New Mexico Lawyers Assistance Program. For those of you who don't know, the Lawyers Assistance Program is a program provided by the State Bar that helps legal professionals like me who have struggled with addiction or other mental health issues. You might have come across their logo on the banner outside for the mocktails. Their motto is "Change Lives, Changing Lives," and there's this beautiful image on there of a Scrabble letters, and it spells out the word chance, and then the C is being flipped to say a G, so it reads change. And I think that really encapsulates what this program has meant for me. I came to this program during my own early sobriety. I got sober during law school. I'd only had about a year under my belt after I passed the bar exam. And they gave me a chance to prove that I could change, that I could be worthy of becoming, a New Mexico lawyer. And I think their wisdom has shown true by the fact that I'm standing here today, receiving this award. They provided me with structure and accountability during my early years of recovery through their monitoring program. And thanks to them and many other people in my life, this Tuesday, actually, I will be celebrating 5 years of sobriety. So like Briggs, I now get the opportunity to do some work with them and kind of pass on that gift that was given to me. It is thanks to LAP and people in it that I get to live the incredible life I live today. I mean, you saw my wife. I've got it made. I've got my own practice. I hope to run it as well and as professional as Mr. Moss appears to lead his career. We also have a beautiful young dog, and we are expecting our first child. I'm very fortunate to have my family here who traveled all the way from Texas. My mom and my dad and my extended family are here as well. I hope that I'm half the parent that my parents were to me. So thank y'all both for being here with me to support me. I would also like to give a special shout out to Pam Moore and Tanessa Akins for their work in LAP. Those two women are out there fighting on the front lines of addiction. They're there when it gets nasty, when it's unpleasant. Those are the women you call whenever things at its lowest. So they inspires me as well. I'd also like to thank someone very special to me in my family who is not here today. That would be my grandfather, who I call Paul. He passed away about 10 years ago now, but he was the biggest inspiration to me in my life. He was just the best man I ever met. And at his funeral, I made a promise that I would try to make him proud and to carry on his legacy. And it's on days like today that I'd like to think, even though I've got a long ways to go, that I'm headed in the right direction. So I miss you, Paul. If y'all were hoping that another recipient was going to babble and cry, boy, I'm delivering. Lastly, I would like to say all glory to my Maker. When I first got sober, I made a deal with God that from now on I was going to do my best to try to put aside my own ego. Every accomplishment, every victory, every blessing that I've received in my life, I was going to try to step aside and give him credit and give him glory, and that's what I'm going to do today. So all glory and honor to him. Thank you, and God bless.
All right. Our next award is the Robert H. Lafayette Pro Bono Award, which is presented to an attorney who has made an exemplary contribution of time and effort without compensation to provide legal assistance over his or her career to people who could not afford the assistance of an attorney. We are pleased to announce this award to Ronald T. Ron Taylor for his commitment and dedication to providing pro bono services for over 5 decades, in addition to providing advice and counsel to many VAP clients at monthly teleclinics and legal fairs across the 13 judicial districts.
So I nominated Ron Taylor for the Pro Bono Lafayette Award because not only has he been a huge advocate for pro bono work with our program, but he's also been a mentor to me, to other staff attorneys throughout legal aid. Ron still holds the record for the most full representation pro bono cases taken with the volunteer attorney program. He also frequently would volunteer at legal fairs, teleclinics. He co-counseled with staff attorneys on cases with New Mexico Legal Aid. He has also mentored me and helped me to understand real estate law, real estate contracts, property. Anytime I ever had a question about any case that I was working on or trying to place, I could always reach out to Ron. He has always been willing to go that extra mile and just be there as much as he possibly can for our community. I think it's really important that he be recognized and his work be recognized, because he did also have a very successful career, and he always made the time to make sure that he was working pro bono alongside of his fee generating cases. Ron would frequently reach out to me and say, "Hey, Meryl, I'm ready for another case. What do you got? give me another one. I'm done with this one. And so I really think that he inspires what it means to provide access to justice and give back to our community.
Congratulations to Ronald T. Taylor.
All right. Watch the glare from the forehead. I'm Ron Taylor, UNM Law Class 1966, and I am most happy that I'm not here posthumously. This award means a lot to me, but let me tell you why. The name on this award is Robert La Follette. And when I was fresh out of law school, I knew I needed some practical experience. And a friend told me that Robert La Follette, who worked in the who was the lawyer in the New Mexico Legal Aid office, could always use some help. So I followed up and was fortunate enough to be able to work in that office and to see the work of Mr. La Follette. And I can tell you what his special trait was, his special characteristics. He worked in the legal aid office, which was a tiny little office at that time, in the back corner of the Bernalillo County Courthouse. It had one secretary and Mr. La Follette. Mr. La Follette worked the legal aid office in the morning, and then he worked his own office in the afternoon. And I can tell you that it didn't make any difference to Robert La Follette whether a client was a paying client or a client who God could not afford to pay for legal services and needed help. What Robert La Follette's major concern was the merits of the case. And if Robert La Follette took that case, whether fee generating or whether there could not, a person who could not pay for the legal services, it made no difference to him. If he took on that case, he worked that case as hard as he could, and he fought like hell for each of his clients. So I think you can see from having this experience how much this award means to me. Now, let me tell you, I'm not standing here in any sense of the word and saying, that I am any type of Robert La Follette. There is only one Robert La Follette. But seeing the character of this man, I hope you can see how much this award means to me with his name on it. But let me tell you something else. I was one attorney who performed pro bono work, but I am not by any means the only. You need to know that we have a fantastic New Mexico Bar Association with lawyers who regularly perform pro bono work. I would bet that a lot of you don't know, just one example, the Lollapalooza Legal Fair events that the New Mexico Bar puts on. We take over a senior citizens center, and we will take over the gymnasium in 4 or 5 of the different senior citizen centers in this town. And there will be anywhere between 35 and 50 lawyers who show up at these legal fairs, and it is from 2:30 in the afternoon until the last person leaves. And sometimes that's 7 or 8 o'clock. So take heart in the fact that we have fantastic, dedicated lawyers who look forward to helping people in this state who can't afford to pay for legal services. And God knows that we have a lot of such people. I would be remiss if I didn't share with you one of my most memorable experiences at one of these legal fairs. And the way that it's done is it's first come, first serve, and they will have bleachers up. And the people will come in, they will take a number, and then they'll take their place in line on the bleachers. And as their number is called, there will be a member of the legal community who will pair that person with a lawyer in the gymnasium at one of the many tables we have, who has a specialty in that area. To show you that no good deed goes unpunished, one day they brought a young woman after being in line and coming down to the floor. They brought a young woman over to ask if I could help her with her problem, which was an area of law that I practiced in property law. She had a stack of papers like this, each page plasticized. We were asked to devote 20 minutes to each of the clients so that we could hopefully take care of all the people at the legal fair. And I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to be able to help this woman in 20 minutes? And I began looking through the documents, seeing judgments, foreclosures, and they were all 12, 13, 14 years old. So it was my, I then took it upon myself to explain to this woman about the statute of limitations and what a difficult, if not impossible, time it would be to try and overturn all of these legal cases that I had seen in these papers and the judgments and the foreclosures. And she was very pleasant. And she took her papers, she put them back together, and she said, "Mr. Taylor, thank you very much for your time. But if it's all right with you, I'm going to go get back in line." And that, folks, is the plight of the pro bono attorney. Knowing now what you do about Robert LaFollette, you can see how much this award means to me and how proud I am to receive this award. I want to thank my beautiful and wonderful wife and my wonderful 3 children, who for all my years in law practice have been so supportive and so wonderful to me. And I also want to acknowledge the super hardworking and dedicated people in our New Mexico Legal Aid Office. These people deserve every bit of credit. And I want to thank, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank the New Mexico Bar for this very special award. Thank you.
All right, last but certainly not least, the Seth D. Montgomery Distinguished Judicial Service Award. This award recognizes judges who have distinguished themselves through long and exemplary service on the bench and who have significantly advanced the administration of justice or improved the relations between the bench and bar. We are pleased to present this award to Judge Robert H. Scott for his integrity, professionalism, contributions, and dedication to the judiciary. the legal profession, and the New Mexico community, serving in the probate court, the state district court, and the United States District Court during his impressive and distinguished judicial career.
So, why nominate Bob Scott for the Seth Montgomery Outstanding Judicial Service Award? I've known Bob for 50 plus years. He was a friend of my older brother's. We had the opportunity to work together, and we probably have as little in common as we have as much in common, which is to say we have both identified things about the other that we enjoyed and probably avoided talking about the things we didn't agree on. But Bob came to the bench before I did, and he was a great mentor. I was very fortunate in my judicial career to have mentors like Bob Scott, Frank Allen, Susan Conway, Ann Cass, a number of others. Mary Walters, my very first boss in the law, who was when I was a law clerk out of law school. But Bob was a guy that I worked closely because we got along well. We had somewhat similar backgrounds, but the main thing we shared was the same sense of humor, which was pretty much adolescent. But I can honestly say that Bob has the deepest understanding and appreciation for the movie Caddyshack of anybody who's ever walked the halls of a courthouse, and that's very important. He and I discovered through mostly his investigation and numerous watchings of it that there was a situation in the courtroom that came up every day that could lend itself to some phrase or other of that infantile movie. So that probably caught my attention, but in all seriousness, he was a great writer and he was very efficient. He was efficient with words and efficient with his duties. I learned a lot from Bob, particularly when I came to the district court for Metro. Scheduling, staying on top of scheduling every day, making sure everything that came in that could be executed, read and signed and sent to the outbox that day. It's very important for people to get closure, and particularly when it comes to matters impending lawsuits. And the worst thing I think you can do, and I learned this from him, how to do it, was to let things linger unnecessarily. Sometimes you need to cogitate, sometimes you need to let something stew for a while. But for the most part, the stuff that you get in your inbox every day can be handled that day, and it should be. And as a result, things move along. People get hearings more quickly, they get trials, matters to trial more quickly. And I think getting decisions made is really, I mean, that's what a particular district judge's job is. It's frequently wrong, but seldom in doubt. And you've got to move forward and make those decisions. And Bob was a great example of that, which is one of the reasons that I, scam likely, one of the reasons that I thought of him in nominating him for this award. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't meet the eye to lawyers or to the general public. It's really important, and it makes, I think, somebody are the significant components of making somebody good at what they do. In this case, really good at being a judge.
Congratulations to Judge Robert H. Scott.
Good evening, everybody. When you try a jury case, you need to take a recess every 20 minutes. And I'm one of those, so I'll make my remarks brief. But I just appreciate more than I can ever tell this group or tell anybody how much I appreciate this. It really has been wonderful for me and my family back there. And it just leaves me speechless. When I first ran for the state district court, I was having trouble on what we called stump speeches, stump remarks. It's like when you go to a rodeo or something, and then they want a few remarks to the TV or that kind of thing. I had trouble with it. So one day I saw my friend, David Cargo, who was governor at the time, and I told him, how do you do this? You're out there every day shaking hands. And he said, let me tell you how you do it. You be short, you be sincere, and you sit down. And that was good advice. This award is really very personal to me. I knew Justice Montgomery very well. We tried to sit with each other at every CLE that we could get. And we'd sit in the back of the room so we could point and talk about lawyers and things that we wanted to talk about. He was just a wonderful jurist and a wonderful person. I had one thing I wanted to tell you about. There's a song, a Johnny Cash song. I was trying to think of it coming over here again. Boy Named Sue. And it ends with, my name is Sue and how do you do? So I thought I would confess to you all, I'm the trial judge that tried that McDonald's coffee case, and how do you do? I did get to be on Oprah's show, and that was fun. And I never watched it before, but I really liked her. She is a wonderful professional. It's a very, very nice person. They have a deal when you go in that you have to go to this, it has a number, I don't know what it is, but you go to a makeup room. And I go in there and I'm always a shade of red, and they're trying to turn that down. And and the guy next to me, it was about the opposite. And I looked at him and I said, do I look as foolish as you do? And he said, yep. And so, so we did it. But she offered to let me stay for a few days, and she would have her driver take me around, show me Chicago. I didn't do it because I had to get back to court, but I just thought the world of her and that I would miss it. In respect for that break that I talked about, let me just say that our time is passing so quickly, and just keep smiling. That's my advice. Just keep smiling, and I'll see all of you downstream. Okay, thank you.
This concludes our 2024 annual award ceremony this evening. Congratulations to this year's inspiring award winners. And if you would like, please join us for the President's Reception next door in the classrooms for hors d'oeuvres and beverages, live entertainment, and the final staycation raffle drawing. Once again, congratulations to everyone.